That's great. All right, everybody, we're going to get started. Hey. All right, everybody, we're going to go ahead and get started. We're going to keep on the schedule, keep moving really quickly on all of this. So a couple things I wanted to mention. First thing I want to say is, for those of you, show me, I didn't see everybody. First time at Explosion. It's first time Explosion. Okay, great. Hey, listen, is Vince still here, or has he moved around a little bit? Okay. Oh, there you are. Yeah. Let me say this, y'all. First off, let me just say to Vince and to Shannon, because this is a joint effort. This is the best conference that I go to every single year. Listen, what I love about my friend Vince is he doesn't have to do this. He does this because of how much he appreciates and loves all of us. And I'll tell you this, because we had these conversations, he didn't have to take this job. And let me just say this, there was not a better hire in the country to lead this brand than Vince Lisi. So, thank you, my friend. And let me say this, thank you, Shannon. Yes. That's exactly right. That should be our hashtag. Thank you, Shannon. Yeah, that should be it. Yeah, that'd be great. So listen, we've got some amazing panelists. Vince mentioned this to you guys. One of the things that I'm excited about this week is it's time for us to get excited about our business again. It's time for us to get back to being who we were created to be as far as the agents that serve in the communities that we're in. This is what we're going to do the next couple of days, which is so powerful. And I've watched it every single time. There will be people in this room that will be changed and their business will be changed. How many of y'all been here before and you've taken one? Listen, how many of you have had something that has changed your business fundamentally from Explosion? I'm just telling you. So those of you that are here for the first time, lean in. Take the extra time. Don't spend too much time in the leadership lounge, we're calling it, over at the hotel. Spend it purposefully. So we're going to get straight into this because we've got some amazing presenters today. And they're going to share with us specific things. This is something that Vince and I talked about a few years ago. We love having the idea of having great top producing agents sharing their best ideas and sharing them in a concise way that you can take action with. So we're going to kick this off, and we're going to start actually with Chris Smith. Chris, if you'll just take it from here.
All right. Is this working?
Yes.
Okay. Well, this is incredible. This is it's my first Explosion, first time in Nebraska, and it's pretty wild to be up here sitting in front of so many top producers. So we'll see how this goes. I'm from Santa Barbara, and I'm just gonna try to share some tips with you that I'm doing in my market that has separated me from our competition. It's a tough market, and we're having the best year we've ever had.
You may have to stand up and be in front of everybody, I'm afraid. Yeah.
I have some new green agents on the team, and they're all.
So what's our instrument? I think yours might need to be muted.
Someone else on it.
It's on me. Hang on one second. I think.
Yeah, there we go.
All right, back on track. So what are we doing that's separating us from the competition that is allowing us to have success right now? And I think one of the big things is Vince in the panel previously just touched on it, is likability, right? Likability is big right now for us. Really coming in and aligning ourselves with the sellers when we meet with them, aligning ourselves with their goals, and then creating the roadmap, being extremely transparent on what that roadmap is going to look like from beginning to end. I think that great marketing is standardized now. It was 5 to 10 years ago where I thought we had the best listing presentation, the best marketing, and due to people like Jimmy here and Berkshire Hathaway and all the marketing team, everybody has the 20-point marketing plan. That's not the differentiator, that's not the separator anymore. So what do you do to separate yourselves when you get in and you start with the listing? So we're gonna talk a little bit about that. Let's see if I could use this here. All right, so bridging the gap here. Sellers' expectations with today's buyer's behavior, bringing clarity, transparency to prevent price drops, frustration, and stalled listings. So how we're going to do that? Mindset, right? So one of the big things that I talked to my team about is mindset, and this kind of came up during NAR or during the NAR lawsuit with commissions, is you have to have a good mindset when you go into these listing presentations. Meaning, one of the things I coined was questions are not objections, right? Questions are an opportunity for you to show your knowledge, your experience, to really be a little bit arrogant and show off what you know, maybe do a little storytelling. So with the commission thing, it was like, commissions are going to come up. Don't back away. Don't bury yourself in a hole. Answer the question, educate them, and move on. You want to have a collaboration with the sellers or any client really, and not a negotiation. You shouldn't ever find yourself negotiating with your clients. You should find yourself educating your clients, providing knowledge, and really making them part of the team and creating a collaboration with them. Because what that does is it puts you on their team, and you want to start winning before you present, right? I go back and talking about, we used to all walk into a listing presentation, tour the home, sit down, open your marketing, talk about yourself, talk about your statistics, talk about your accolades. That's gone. I hardly ever pull my marketing presentation out anymore. I might do it at the very end, and I'm going to talk about that here in a second on what that looks like. So when I come in the house, it's all about mindset. I engage with them. I make them part of the decision making. And then I make sure not to negotiate with them, and I share stories and try to humanize it a bit. Then I come into buyer behavior, and this is really where I try to separate myself from the market and be on their side, so I'm not responsible for what the market yields, right? I sit down and say, before we jump into anything, now that we've toured the house, it's great, it's beautiful, so forth and so on, whatever your process is, can we talk a little bit about what's going on in the market? Would you mind if I share what's going on in the market right now? Obviously, they say, sure. These aren't groundbreaking things. Everyone in here is a top agent. You guys know that the market's different now, but what I want to get through to you is, how are you communicating this, and how are you sharing this with the consumer or with the seller, right? How are you communicating this over? So buyers, they're hesitant, they're cautious, and they're value focused. They're hesitant, right? They're looking at the home 2, 3, 4, 5 times, sometimes 10 times before they take that leap of faith and make an offer. What happens when they make the offer? They become very cautious, right? They're still very unsure. Did we overpay? What's going on? They're digging through the home inspection report. The request for repairs is ridiculous nowadays, what we're getting. And then they're value focused, right? And a good way to get through the value focused thing is they're looking at, this is where you could start to set your seller up for, look, you have the location, your kitchen's beautiful, maybe you didn't update the bathrooms, maybe you didn't update the roof, and you could start to talk about the value focus that buyers out in the community are looking for. I'll give a quick example here. One of our hottest markets in Santa Barbara is called the Mesa. It's right on the bluff of the beach there. And that year-to-date, 2024 to year-to-date now, price per square foot is exactly the same. It's about $1,700, and last year and this year it's $1,705. So I farm that area. I live in that area. These people probably read my statistics, and if you read the statistics, everything looks all good. Now the difference is the numbers don't tell the whole story. The product has completely changed. Last year, $1,700 a per square foot. Fixers were selling at that. All original homes needed wiring, roof, flooring. You wouldn't even want to live in those homes. Fast forward today, we still have the same price per square foot, but the product has completely changed, right? That product now is a finished product. So you have to start talking about this and talk about what buyers are experiencing and kind of bring real life situations to this. And you're doing all this to set up when you do talk about your marketing presentation and the process at the very end here, so that you could, because price is part of marketing, right? So that they are ready now to, maybe you came in the door, and in my case, I wish we would have got 2.2 million, but after hearing what you're talking about, what's going on with the buyers, I understand the rates, this, insurance, maybe we should list closer to 2 million, and then it's easier for you to have that talk, right? So that's a little bit about buyer behavior. And when you start talking about buyer behavior and you put examples behind it and you put your knowledge behind it, you separate yourself again from being responsible for what the market yields. And then how are we doing on time?
You're good.
Are we good? Okay. So jumping into the process, and if we're good on time, I'll give you some examples here. But on the process, you come in and do what you guys have always done. You talk about what's going to happen from the time you take the listing to the time that you're going to launch the listing. You're going to get reports. You're going to set it up. Then what you're going to do the first 30 days after you launch the listing, what the feedback's going to be. You set that all up. The big thing here that I think my competition is not doing is I'm extremely transparent about what the roadmap is going to look like, because when I take a listing, we've done this enough times now, I know what the roadblocks or hesitations are going to be. I know that they're going to complain about the buyer's going to be hesitant about the busy street or whatever it might be. So I set that up with the seller right from the beginning. How we're going to look at offers when they come in, how we're going to respond to them, how we're going to negotiate them, what to expect on requests for repairs, what buyers are going to be hesitant about. And I also explain to them that when I show their house and that we are going to address the elephant in the room. We're going to talk about the best location, but the house is on a busy street. That's the first thing I talk about when someone comes in the house. And then I go in and I talk about all the beautiful things. Look at the all steel door that was imported from Poland. Shut the door, you can't hear the street. This house has been completely updated. We addressed what everyone was talking about, why it's priced lower than the competition across the street because it's on the busy street. And then we talk about all the beautiful things and design that happened in the house. The buyer leaves only remembering the value in the house that they're going to get. So when the buyer leaves, hopefully, they know that if the house was across the street, 4 doors down, it would have been 33% difference in price, and maybe they can't afford that, right? So I think at the end of this, the big takeaways for me are questions, again, are not objections. You have to have the mindset to welcome the questions. The questions are your opportunity to collaborate with your client and to really show off your knowledge and show off your expertise in the business and use examples. And then buyer behavior, you get to talk about what the buyers expect, not what you're negotiating against them. So you're putting it back on the buyers, you're creating a team with your client, and hopefully you're winning before you ever present and talk about your marketing. The last thing I forgot about the process is at the very end, I say, hey, did you get my pre-marketing package? I emailed, dropped at your door, whatever it is. Do you have any questions with that? While you're looking at that, let me point out, let me show you some highlights of what I have going here, and then you drive into price and you start to talk about price. But hopefully by the time you got there, you've won them over and you've created a relationship with them, and they feel like they're part of your team.
Great. Let me do this. I'm gonna just start using this. Is actually so one thing I wanted to say is I forgot to ask. Tell everybody a little bit about the size of your business as each of you introduce yourselves, kind of where you're located and what your business is, if you don't mind, because this will give some context as well. So, Chris, if you don't mind, just
so my business, I have a team of 7 agents plus staff, marketing, and admins and assistants. We do around 150 million a year, around 40 to 60 transactions depending on the year. My team's average sales price is 2.8 million. Average sales price in town is 2 million. What were the other questions?
That's good. That's great. Yeah, that's perfect.
Yeah.
That's great. All right, thanks. Appreciate that. Adam, we're going to roll right into Adam Briley. Adam, if you don't mind, just tell them a little bit about where you're located, your business, and then roll right in. If you don't mind.
So I'm here in Omaha, and I'm a large team or mega team, whatever you call it. So we have, I would say today, I don't have a clicker, so I don't need that. I'm not a PowerPoint guy.
Okay.
Get me? We have about 50 agents on the team, and we have a lot of new agents on the team, so we're constantly training and going through all that. Units, trying to looking at Vince to see 900 to 1,000 units. Our average sales price is like 340 maybe. So you got to pump out
Really gotta sell like 7 houses for his one.
Yeah, exactly. So you got to pump out a lot of deals there. I have 2 administrative, transaction coordinators. I have a sales coach. I have my ops manager, and then Adrian just kind of runs us all basically. Have an in-house photographer, stuff like that. So what I was going to talk about is there's a lot of amazing tools out there, right? A lot of amazing systems, and our team does a ton of them. I will say I am good at failing, and I do, me personally on my own business, I fail a lot, right? And I probably don't use a lot of those tools very effectively. Our team does, but me as an individual agent on my own team, I probably fail at most of them, right? So what I know to do, and the only thing I know to do in my 19 years is planting seeds, is picking up the phone and having conversations. So a lot of I don't know about you guys, but I've seen a big pullback in the market. I've seen a ton of commission objections in our market. Tons of agents in our market are going in at 4, 4.5, 5.5%. I'm seeing it across the board. And so, that's a hard thing. So I've actually pulled back a lot on even one thing I was talking to Brace about is I definitely need to I need to up my presentation game, because I can't bring myself to go take a listing at that low of a price. So I'm just pulling back. So what I'm focusing on is picking up the phone, planting seeds. So I just try to keep it 5 past client calls a day. That's it. Nothing more, nothing less. As long as I do my 5 a day, I feel like that keeps my needle moving forward. And and that works well for me. Now, maybe your number needs to be 10 people or 20 or wherever you're at in your business. But what I get surprised by is we live in a world where you're always chasing some shiny object, right? And there's a lot of cool shiny objects out there, like especially AI. Like I'm trying to think of all the ways I can integrate AI into our business. But again, I try to limit that because that is chasing some sort of a shiny object. And with social media and all that, like I've gotten off of Instagram and Facebook and all that, because for me, I've just realized it's a distraction. And I feel like a lot of people are starting to feel that, like they're getting on there and they're like feeling empty. And like people want to go back to like genuine conversations. So one thing I've really focused on this year is just having genuine conversations with my past clients. Picking up the phone and I'll have like a 30-minute conversation with a past client. I don't even ask for a referral. It's just literally, how you doing? How's life? What's going on? What's going on in your world? And I feel like that's been really impactful because they know you care, right? So that's probably the biggest thing I've been focusing on. And that's really all I got, Jimmy.
No, it's great. Let me say this. Hey.
The point is, Jimmy, is like who's really like where I was going to go is like, I am always amazed of how many people don't pick up the phone and like just call their database. And because we complicate this business so much, right? I do the same thing a lot of times.
Yeah. No, look, Adam, what I'd love to say is, and listen, for those of you that are out there also, Adam's still making, he's running a huge team. They're doing 1,000. He's still having his 5 conversations every day. And when you can boil it down to the simplicity, and you're going to see this, one of the breakout sessions is up in Adam's office, in the Briley team's offices. The amount of just staying focused on what's truly important is I've watched your business over the years. It's just amazing that the consistency and the duplication that he has in his team of what he does, and it starts at the top. He does it every day. You can look at him, he's disciplined. This is somebody that just stays focused on the big things. So if I could give you one takeaway, man, just, and talk to Adam, I can tell you, just stay consistent. Make the phone calls. Track them. When you're tracking this, you'll see this in his office. He's got everything tracked on the screen.
Well, one thing that we started doing, I know, sorry, but
this is good.
This is a good idea. So for anyone that has a team, and we got this from, I don't know. Actually, I don't know who it was. Anyway, so it wasn't our idea. We do every other week. So we're not doing it every week because we don't want people to pull back on our team. But so we've done it every other week. It's $1,000. It's the first person. They have to do everything through FUB. It's the first agent to have you have to have 20 2-minute conversations. The first agent to get that gets $1,000. And we started that in 1st of July. And the second half of July, we saw a 25% increase in our business just by pushing that simple habit, right? So like for us, for me, it's worth the $2,000 a month to do that.
Yeah, and I promise you, the person who wins that, they make way more than that $2,000.
And we get about 35 of our agents are buying into it and doing it. So for me, that's a huge win.
I love it. Hey, and look, this is something that if you don't have a large team, find a group of agents in your office and put together a group, and y'all all pull in for that money. Create an opportunity for you to have some opportunities to challenge yourself and also to keep a scoreboard. So it's great stuff. Yeah. All right. Let's keep moving because we got a limited amount of time here. I want to come to Rachel Skradski, Luhrs, next. What I love about this is that everybody is doing something a little bit different. You're going to hear a focus from everybody on all these different areas. So, Rachel, I'll let you take it from here.
Okay. Hi, I'm Rachel. I'm based out of Omaha. I have a team. We do about 150 transactions, about 80 million. Today I wanted to talk about customer service, and feel free to cut me off because I feel like
we're good.
So obviously with the market being the way that it is, buyers and sellers are both way more anxious. So I was kind of like, how do we elevate our customer service? So I'm in Mike Ferry coaching, and one of his quotes that's always stuck with me is that there is a direct correlation between the income that we get and the level of service that we give. So if we want to increase our income, we have to improve the level of customer service that we give. And I think you all know that the number one complaint of real estate agents is poor communication. So in order to create that top-notch customer service, we must learn to give regular, strong communication with our clients and to anticipate what they need before they even ask for it. So for me, I try to focus on the pre-qualification. And sorry, I have a thing that should be up there, but I can send it out or have Aaron send it out. It's basically my pre-qualification script for sellers. So just trying to really understand them before I go out and meet with them. Selling is not telling, it's asking strong questions. So I love to make sure that I get through that pre-qualification before I meet with them, just so that I can be more prepared, know what objections are coming, and most importantly, understand their personality style. So I'm going to touch on personality styles a little bit. Because
I want to just make sure. I see everybody taking photos. You feel free to do that, but we're going to have all the slides coming out to everybody. Vince and the team, Aaron, they're going to have everything coming out to you guys after this as well, so you get all of these.
So basically, creating amazing customer service is tailoring yourself to the client. It's not their job to tailor themselves to you. It's your job to tailor yourself to them. So I always try to identify their personality style within that pre-qualification, and then I try to mirror and match whatever style they may be. So I know you guys have all probably heard this before, but the driver is the first one. They're very direct. They like to be in control of the situation. They're results oriented. They may become impatient if you're talking too much or going into too much detail. They're very low on emotion, but very quick decision makers. So in real estate, they often just want to know, what is my house worth and how long is it going to take you to sell it? And they don't really care about any of the other fluff. The analytical, they are all about the details. So they love information. You can't give them enough statistics. And they're pretty easily identifiable because a lot of times they're doctors, lawyers, engineers, pilots. So they are always looking for more information. They're low on emotion and they will take a long time to make a decision. So you have to be a little bit more patient. The expressive, you can spot from a mile away. They are the life of the party. They love being the center of attention. They're always excited. They talk a lot, spontaneous. They're very fast in decision making and highly emotional. And then the amiable is the person that's always agreeable. They want to make sure everyone's comfortable. They want to make everyone happy. They put others' feelings before their own. They're very warm and friendly, but they are slow on decision making and high on emotion. So how does this apply to selling? Basically, my goal is to always figure out that personality style and then to basically make myself like them so that they feel more comfortable with me. I can get the contract signed quicker on the listing side or on the buy side. And so here's some examples of how you would talk to each personality style different in a listing appointment, for example. So the driver, would you like to get this done quickly? These 3 homes sold for X, Y, and Z, and they're your best comparables. That means your home is worth blank, and it will take around 30 days to sell. Should we go ahead and prepare the paperwork? Analytical. I want to make sure that we give you all the facts and figures that you're looking for today. Where would you like me to start? I can start with, these 5 different things. Expressive. Give me 5 great reasons why someone should buy your house. What are your best 5 features? And then amiable. We want to make sure that whoever buys your home loves this home as much as you do. So what would you like me to tell the buyer about the home to make them feel as comfortable as you do in this home? So that's just a few examples. And I try to do that throughout the whole process of selling with them. So we put on the file, this person is whatever personality style they are. And then every communication is tailored to that way. I tend to be a driver under stress, especially. So I'm always trying to remember that, because if someone's asking me a question, I can't just shoot off the answer. I need to respond in the way that they would like me to respond to make them feel comfortable and to help get us through all of the hoops that we have to jump through while selling their home. So then the next point I just wanted to talk about was future pacing. My coach really helped me with this. In this market where things are falling apart so much more often, homes are taking longer to sell, I feel that we have to be more on top of future pacing at every step. So at the listing, I talk about, every possible thing that could happen. Someone might not show up for the appointment. They might show up 30 minutes late. They could show up 45 minutes late. They could lock you out of your house. So just establishing the things that could happen up front. And then once they're under contract, okay, let's talk about the stuff we don't want to talk about. Every point that this deal could fall apart, because I want you to be prepared that, until we're through the home inspection, this is not a done deal. And they may come back with crazy requests on the inspection, but that doesn't mean we can't work through that. So just future pacing them at every step, I feel is really important. I have implemented, now that listings are taking longer to sell, a weekly seller report. So this is kind of just a outline of what I do. And basically the format of it is, here's the summary of the marketing activities we did for your home this week. And then I monitor what's going on in the neighborhood. So Omaha is very subdivision focused. So I would basically say, these 2 homes came on the market in your neighborhood, they're priced at this, or this house had a price reduction, or this one went under contract. And then I link them in there so they can look at them and compare them. And then I basically recap all the showing feedback, because I give that immediately, but then recap it in the seller report. Then I say at the end, please let me know a good time for us to discuss this, because I think it's more imperative than ever to talk to the seller on the phone every single week until they are under contract. And so this is kind of a nice way to tee it up. And then the things that I link are basically all the analytics of the social media and the marketing that we do, and then Zillow hits and just additional information. After the sale, I followed this program for keeping my database, keeping in touch with them. So after the closing, I follow up 1 day, 1 week, 1 month, and then we always send out the closing disclosure. So I just basically have a text, and the day after is like, hey, wanted to make sure you got in the house. Did you stop by after? Was there anything that I can help you with? And then 1 week after is like, hey, just checking in. Are you all moved in? Are there any questions that came up? And then 1 month is like, hey, have you gotten to know any neighbors? What are you loving the most about your new house? And so just trying to show them that I'm not just closing the door and saying, see you. I'm trying to become a part of their lives. And I always tell them too, if we're not friends on social media, hey, I'm gonna add you. I wanna keep in touch. And then I do send out cards, which I learned from Megan Owens, and I feel like that has been really amazing. It's basically like a program that you can send out cards to people on a monthly basis, or however often you'd like. You can set up a calendar, and back to school is always one of my favorite times to do that. I take people's pictures off Facebook with their back to school, like their kids, and I just send them a send out card. And basically the message says, this was too cute not to print. I hope, Addie and George have a great first day at school, or had a great first day at school. I'm thinking about you guys this school year. So just trying to show them that I'm still involved in their life, and I'm, wanting to be a part of that. And then I do call them or text, depending on how they like to communicate, 4 times a year. So I think that's it.
So good. I will say what I love about this is the systems that you use. I think we can all tighten our systems up. Also, the future pacing. And we heard Chris mention this too. I mean, we were literally talking about how the expectations and setting the expectations, the communication now is even more important than it's ever been. So thank you, Rachel. Really appreciate all that you do. And listen, that's a systematic plan that you could apply in your business right now that'll absolutely help you. All right, Greg, we're going to come to Greg Miller, and I'll let you take it from here.
Wonderful. First of all, Steve, the owner of the company, is sitting right here, and every time I speak, I sense his nervousness about how things are going to go. So everybody tell Steve it's going to be okay.
It's going to be okay,
It's going to be
Steve.
okay,
It's
Steve.
going to be okay.
It's going to be okay, no matter what. We only have 9 minutes. It can only be so bad. A little bit about myself. I've been in... No. I'm I'm not looking at videos. I actually have notes here, so I'm not scrolling. I worked in real estate about 25 years. I've been married 32, have 4 adult children, and worked through real estate. And my wife actually works for me. We have a disagreement
I would
about
say
that.
with me?
Yeah, believe me.
I would just suggest with me.
We have a vast argument about that. And not even with me. I think that would be an improvement for me. I have a team does about 300 to 400 units a year, and we've been trying to improve that. I own about 20 rental properties. I've been a real estate coach for about 10 years. I have a fledgling construction company. If anybody likes to, that's our marketing plan if you want to buy a house from us, fledgling. And also, since the beginning of the year, I've been the COO. I've been running the company I work for, which has about 40 offices and 900 agents. Yeah, how's that sound? It works out about like it sounds a lot of times. And the reason I say that is not to impress you, because you can quickly, you're going to be unimpressed in about 9 minutes anyhow. But I suspect there's going to be some billionaires after I speak, because you're going to go, much like a team that came to visit me from Indianapolis, young guy I was coaching, and he comes up to visit our team. He leaves, he goes, "This is the best day of my life." I'm like, wow, really? I didn't think it was that good. He goes, "No, if you can do this, you won't believe what I can do." And I said to him, I go, "Well, that's about the meanest thing anybody's ever said to me." And he was driving away with a smile on his face that you wouldn't believe. He couldn't believe it. I suspect the guy's going to make a lot of money. And this may not resonate with everybody in the room, but everybody in the room knows somebody. They know somebody who's struggling with time. Anybody here have times in your life when you're struggling with time, or know somebody, successful or not, it doesn't seem to matter, but just struggling with the concept of time and feeling of overwhelm, scarcity of time, not enough hours in the week to get your work done? Anybody ever been there? I'm going to share a little bit of my story of where I started there. And you see throughout the morning session, everything turns into this. Every coaching client I've ever had over the past 10 years, and some massively successful people, it all comes down to time. How am I spending my time? I'm not spending time where I want to. I'm getting all the money. I'm getting all the success. I'm getting this and that, or I'm not getting it. But at the end of the day, I'm not feeling fulfilled. I'm not managing my life. And maybe there's a clue there. A little background on me. I grew up in a very unsuccessful family, in a very unsuccessful state, in a very unsuccessful city. And I grew up in a time when the time pressure, we had none. We didn't do anything. We had no internet. We had no cable. We had a telephone, and my dad had a rule after 8 o'clock. This is a rule. After 8 o'clock, don't answer it, because if it's an emergency, they'll get back with us. I'm like, as a child, I remember I was thinking, like, well, when would they get back with us? And do they have to call me? If you had a window 6 to 8 to get a hold of us, apparently, emergency or not, we just didn't answer the phone. So things, and I grew up in a good family. Nothing weird happened to me other than being poor and my mom buying my clothes at Kmart. I mean, it's pretty weird, but I survived all that. But the time pressure was not there. I mean, the days were long. You watch 60 Minutes. It took a long time. It took a couple hours, I think, to get through that show when I was a kid. And but I was driven from a very young age, 4 or 5 years old, super driven. Wanted to be more, wanted to be successful, wanted to be good at sports. Wasn't any of those. And at least I didn't think I was. But I was really driven, and that created some conflict in my life. Some real conflict as I got older, because I was driven, yet I had no pattern of success. I had nothing to model this by. I didn't even know any successful people. Family that owned a grocery store, they're kind of screwed up, but they had a grocery store. I thought that was pretty good. They sold shoes at the grocery store, and I thought, my God, maybe one day I could get a grocery store that sells shoes. That was my model for success where I grew up. So I didn't have a lot of a way to view the world, a pattern, like a lot of you guys come in here, guys and gals come in here. You have a pattern for success. Combined with that, I'm 1 point short of a perfect score on the introvert scale, and my DISC is 100 on the C. So if you know anything about DISC or the introvert score, I've got some real problems. Seriously, real problems surviving on the day-to-day basis, interacting with people. Real estate should not have been my first choice. Unibombing would have been a very good choice. I'm book smart and not good with people, and that would have been a better move for me. But in 2010, I'm sitting on my couch. My wife's out of town at a ministry event in Japan. I don't know how we had no money. It was 2010. We had no money. I was selling houses I sold a house for $6,000. My brother-in-law, he's like, could we get the price down? I'm like, could you just pay the $6,000? It's move-in ready. And he's like, he agreed, but it took a little bit of sales there. And I didn't have anything. So I did what any husband does when the wife's out of town, scrolling through the TV. And if you know me, it's maybe not what you think. I'm on infomercials. I'm looking for something on the infomercial, something that grabs me. And once again, I had no money, so I should have been working on my rental properties because they were probably vacant at the time. And but instead, I'm watching an infomercial. I come across a Tony Robbins video. This is getting weird. You guys are like, this guy's going off the grid. And I bought this program that's called The Time of Your Life. And that darn thing, I listened to that. It's a CD. And you come in CDs. I listened to that thing 30 times. The first 10 times, I had no idea what he's talking about. I'm like, I think there's something here, but I don't understand any of it. And then I went on, I bought 40 of those, and I gave them to everybody that would even dare listen. Would you listen to this? Or like, sure. I go, okay, here, it's yours. So the Tony Robbins guys, they still call me and trying to get me to order more CDs. Because at the time, and we'll get into some real quick, and tell me when we're down to 2 minutes, I'll get to my actual point. I've worked 100 hours a week. I've slept in rental properties. At that time, I owned a handful of rental properties. Wanted to be successful, didn't really know how. Got into real estate, didn't understand that was sales. Nobody told me, and I'm trying really hard. And I remember at one point I woke up in a rental property, mattress deflated, put on my best Kohl's suit probably at the time, and went to a listing appointment. Wondered why does this lady keep trying to get me to the mirror? Am I like some vampire thing? I don't know, what's the mirror? And I'm like, I get back in the car after the appointment, and I got paint all over it's actually primer, white primer, so I'm not paint. White primer all over my face. And I remember thinking, I don't even care. I just got to get to the next appointment. Like it didn't even matter. My life was totally out of control. And then I've also experienced times where I've taken a week off a month for 2.5 years straight and spent precious times with my fam. You got this. So weird. I'm so very straight. Very straight. I have a very strange personality. So, and I spent precious times with my family, worked 30 hours a week because I got clear on my goals and clear about what I wanted out of life. And frankly, I didn't care about my family. I didn't like kids to begin with. I wasn't real good. I'm really good at being that now. I'm actually a really good husband, which it took me 32 years. I've been on real upswing lately, but no, that's serious. But I wanted to be successful, and I wasn't able or willing to encapsulate that on anything else. I didn't care. I run myself ragged, and it wasn't really productive. It's not like I had no money, so it wasn't like, it worked. It wasn't even working, but I was so driven, and I didn't see the big picture. And through the Tony Robbins, and I'm a big Tony Robbins guy. Got a Tony Robbins coach currently, and she's crazier than I am.
2 minutes to get to the point.
All right, 2 minutes. Here we go. So here's what changed in my life. One, I had to change my language. I had to change what I said out loud. So I no longer said I'm too busy. It's overwhelming. My life's overwhelming. I said things like I got so much time and so little to do. And you'll hear me saying that. I clap down the hallway. I whistle, and I say things. I just don't speak, and I don't allow anybody around me to speak words of overwhelm because I get overwhelmed very easily. So that's the first step. Number two, I had to become grateful, and I wasn't grateful. And I remember jogging down the road, and I was like, Tony said to be grateful. I have nothing to be grateful for, at least I thought. So I started with, I'm so grateful during this wind and storm that tree did not fall over and kill me. And it sounds silly, but I couldn't think of anything else at the time. And then the next tree didn't fall over and kill me. Next thing you know, I'm like, geez, oh Pete, this is going really well. So and it started there, and now I truly am grateful. Then I got clarity. I got clarity on my goals, what I really want in life, my wheel of life, each category, family, business. I got clear on how and I'm not impressing anybody here, but I want to have a net worth of $10 million. Why? It would change my family for generations. My family's never had any money. When people die in my family, they call me and ask, like, what do we do now? I'm like, I don't know. How much will this cost? And what's the minimum we need to do to finish this? So $10 million, and I got clear that's $6 million in real estate, $2 million in cash, $2 million in equities, and I'm not even quite halfway there, but I want to have that by the time I'm 63. I don't know why I just said that, but I got clear on it, and I also want to get clear on the other areas of my life, how I treat my family, how I spend time with my kids and my wife, and encapsulate my goals. Next, you have to have good systems. If you don't have good systems, this is all gonna fall apart. So you have to have great systems where you can talk about, avoid multitasking. You have to make good, quick decisions, which I'm not good at, but you can surprisingly learn. You have to delegate and outsource, which we can talk more about in another session. Stop judging yourself and others. I judge myself and others so harshly, and I have to stop all the time. Say no to almost everything. I have to say no to my boss and everybody else incessantly because things keep coming at you and trying to interfere with my goals in life. Hire a coach and be kind to yourself. And if you're overwhelmed right now, and a lot of us are at any given point in time, don't start with your calendar. Start with describe what kind of life that you want to live and get clear on that. And you'd be surprised. I set my goals during this Tony Robbins thing. We heard about the goal session earlier. I got a folder, printed off a bunch of sheets. Wasn't really clear about it, other than I got 6.2 strokes to take off my handicap, and I'm not a karate master, but everything else has been accomplished. And that little book that I put together, just on that little bit of clarity. So, good luck. Appreciate it.
Thank you. And by the way, Greg will be here all week. He'll be here all week. So tip your bartenders and your waitress. All right, we're going to keep moving. Megan Sullivan. Megan, if you could take it from here.
There we go. I'm just going to stand up. We've been sitting way too long. So I'm going to change it up a little bit. Obviously, everyone up here talked about good practices, what they do in their business. But a big thing we miss about this, what do we do in our community? I just want to ask one question. How many of you have done any community outreach or community events in the last 60 days? Can I just see a show of hands? So, I mean, that's a really good look in here. But if you look around, a lot of you didn't have your hands rose. Why? A lot of people get nervous when they go out in community. I hate actually going up and speaking. I'm a big introvert. You might not be able to tell it, but actually I'm a loner. If you see me at any of these events, I said to my sister yesterday, I'm like, yeah, everyone's networking, and I'm just like over here. Don't talk to me. Like, I don't know. I am pretty successful in this business, but I'm also a big loner. I'm a homebody. I would rather be in bed at 9 o'clock, and all my friends are out at the bars or doing their things. I like to put my kids to bed. And I like to go watch The Hunting Wives or something on Netflix. Who doesn't like that right now, you know? But I also love my community. I did about 114 units last year as a single agent. I think that averaged around 20-some million. I can't remember the numbers, to be honest. I didn't look any of that up. But we are in a different demographic area than a lot of you. So I do Michigan and Wisconsin. I'm right on the border. So I'd say my average sale price could be $19,000 up to, $500,000, give or take, is probably normal. I have a listing dropping today, actually, if you guys want to check it out. $799. That's a luxury listing in our area, and I've been on my photographer to get that stuff because I'm excited to bring it to our community. They don't see that stuff a lot, but through some of the marketing that I've done, it opens the eyes in my community for video, photography, what a real estate agent should be bringing, because in some of the smaller areas, you have small mom and pop brokerages, which aren't a bad thing, but they don't have the access to the technology that we do, which is why I connected with Berkshire many years ago, because I wanted to change those things in my area. I wanted to show buyers and sellers that there's more than just what is available to you locally. You can do more in your business, and you should. When you're handling a big asset, you should not trust that to someone who's going to take some iPhone photos and throw a yard sign in and expect it to sell itself. And then you don't even know them. So for me, I like to get out in the community, show what I can do, but also be a member of our community. I show up in sweatpants to some things. I show up looking really nice to some things. But the biggest thing, I'm relatable. I'm myself. I don't sugarcoat. I don't come in and try and sell you the new BMW on the lot. That's not what I'm here for. I want to truly make a relationship that is going to last. So my entire family plays hockey. My husband, my 8-year-old, and my 2-year-old. He gave me a black eye about a month ago. That wasn't so great. I'm glad I don't have it today. My sister, she's laughing. She can attest. She thought it was hilarious. It wasn't so hilarious for me. But I'm on the board for one of our local hockey associations. I run that, and that brings us to a lot of people because they asked me to be on the board because I do have a large reach to our community. And I am a big part of the drug and alcohol community in our area. That affects everybody, and I've been affected in my own life. My mother, myself, I mean, I can go on and on about that. There's probably not a single person in this room who hasn't been affected by something like that in their life. So how do you reach more people? Again, opening yourself up, getting involved in your community, and being relatable. Those 3 things are huge. When you go out and you put yourself not just trying to gain people's business, but gain their trust and their friendship, that's where you're going to get a lot more business. I have never had to pay for, Zillow, a Zillow lead, a realtor lead, or any type of upfront cost for my business. It has all been organically made in a referral-based business for me because I go out there and I make relationships with people and I hold on to them. Like you kind of mentioned, sending out postcards, following up with them after closing. We go out to lunch. I get pictures. Hey, we're having a drink with you because my coasters are in my friends' bars. I pay to say, hey, you don't have to pay for coasters or this stuff. I'm just going to drop them off if you don't mind. Of course, most people don't because it's saving their business some money also. But how can you help your friend's business? How can you go out in the community and make an impact? I think that's a really, really important way to get into things. Client events. Focus on your client's children. You know, that kind of sounds a little weird, but when we hold client events, especially this will be our 4th year now, heading into our annual Easter event. Every year it gets a little bigger. I take people's suggestions, feedback, and then we table that. And with my office, I say, how can we be better? What can we do better next year? And it's always detailed towards the kids. When you bring in the kids, you bring in the parents, and the parents are the ones selling the houses. So when you make more relationships through that, you also bring it full table and full circle. I'm kind of rambling up here, but community it means a lot to me. And if you're just putting on a false sense of who you are, your clients are going to see through that. They're not stupid, and they're not going to trust you with their largest investment. So whether, you have to look at their personalities. Some people you can joke with. Some people you have to be, some people don't like tattoos, which, I mean, I show mine all the time. But you might want to tone it back for some clients, but you have to be able to read them to know how to serve them. So being more in your community, I feel like you can, kind of gauge what you're around. I just want to share one story real quick. I had this client, and she had reached out to me and said, I'd like you to work with me and my family. My parents are relocating from Colorado, and I'm the boots on the ground for them here, looking for a house. And we were working with another local realtor, but I feel really off-put and disrespected, and I want a different opinion on what we could do. So I brought him into the office because I always bring all my clients to the office first. Let's sit down. Let's have a meeting to make sure, I know who you are. You're not a psychopath that might stab me, but also so you can see who I am. You can ask questions. I can educate you on the process of how you should be asking questions, when you should be calling me, getting your having all the things. Everyone in here has done it, but making sure we have that initial visit to go over all the questions. But I said, what was so wrong in that relationship that you don't want to continue with that agent? They looked at me and made me feel not like an average person. And I said, well, tell me what happened. She said this agent was very excited to know that they had a cash buyer relocated from Colorado and was very responsive, very over the top, very nice. She said, as soon as she seen me step out of the car, the way she looked at me completely changed. She said, I know I'm a bigger girl. I know I'm not extremely beautiful or nice to look at. And, I have some health problems. So it was a day that I was struggling. And ever since then, she was very short with her, very snippy. She looked down on me because of how I looked. Never make people feel like that. They may not remember what you said to them. They're going to remember how you made them feel. And that's probably the biggest thing if you take away everything. We are no better than someone who is sleeping under the bridge tonight in a box, except for we have a home to go to. We have a family maybe that loves us. Maybe they don't, but they still like you. They still accept you. But nonetheless, we are one bad choice away from being no better than somebody else. So treat them with care and kindness, exactly how you would treat someone in your own family. And I think that's how your business is going to really start to grow.
Thank you, Megan. All right. So let's give this entire panel a round of applause.